deported and desperate to get back.
I was willing to take the risk that was necessary to see my daughter.
What happens when they re-enter illegally by boat from the Bahamas to the United States?
I jump off the boat and start swimming.
Miami-Dade County Police and Fire were diligent.
And even if they make it, will they survive Trump's immigration crackdown? And later,
My tenure, obviously, at the helm of the show ends today.
the celebrity journalist who made her name covering Black in America.
We know the degree to which Black lives are woefully undervalued.
We speak with Soledad O'Brien, who has Caribbean roots, on this episode of 18 Degrees North. Hello, I'm Zara Burton, and welcome to 18 Degrees North. It's from right here in Kingston, Jamaica, 18 degrees north of the equator, that every week we're going to take you on a global journey with us as we focus on Caribbean stories that have global impact. We begin our show with one of the most contentious issues in the United States right now, immigration. Thousands of Caribbean nationals were forcibly removed in just the past few years, and many of them want to go back. But going back legally can be difficult. In fact, the odds are so slim, many Caribbean deportees or involuntary returnees resort to using unauthorized, often treacherous routes. Because of its close proximity to South Florida, the Bahamas is the route of choice for many Caribbean nationals who, despite the known dangers, take the risk. Now there may be even more at stake for illegally re-entering the United States under President Donald Trump. We begin our story at 18 degrees north and 77 degrees west in Kingston, Jamaica.
She was asking me, Daddy, when are you going to come and see me? And I tell her as soon as possible. And that's when my journey began.
Clinton, not his real name, says he was in the United States for 15 years before being deported in 2004, after a series of petty crimes, weapons, and assault charges finally caught up with him.
I was on a 10-year multiple visa. I went to the United States, got in some problem, got deported.
After being in Jamaica for some time, Clinton wanted to go back, but he knew going back legally was not an option.
I took a trip with the intention to go back to the United States, to the Bahamas. But after getting jobs there and working, I figured out it's okay, I don't have to go back in the United States.
But then, Clinton got some heart-wrenching news.
My daughter was in an accident. Her skull was actually crushed. I was insist to see her. I didn't know if she was going to die and not seeing her again. I was willing to take the risk.
Deported, depressed, and desperate to get back to his then 3-year-old daughter, re-entering the United States by boat became his only option.
They decided they're gonna put some money together, buy some fluid, and take me over to Florida. I will make like 7 attempts.
Those attempts, he says, were thwarted because the boat he was traveling in kept being spotted by the Coast Guard. But one night, Clinton decided, spotted or not, he was not turning back.
Reaching 1.3 miles off the coast of Florida, the pilot for the boat went on his GPS and saw 2 boats closing in real fast and insisted he was going to turn back. I could actually see the shore of Florida, cars driving. I know that that water is infested with sharks. And I jump off the boat and start swimming. After 2 hours and 45 minutes of swimming, we're in Coral Spring. I end up in West Palm Beach. 3 days later, I could not move. My whole body was in flame. After a couple of weeks go by, I went back to New York actually and saw my daughter for the first time in 3 years.
Clinton's desperate act highlights the torturous decision hundreds of Caribbean involuntary returnees face about whether to risk their own lives like so many others who went before them in search of a better life in the United States. In 2015, Wayne Golding, a Jamaican diaspora advisory board member and an immigration lawyer for over 25 years, led an initiative locally to help legally return eligible persons back to the United States. He says he met with hundreds of persons. 2 were successfully returned.
It all depends on what the offense was, what your status was at the time, because it's not an automatic, okay, your ban time is up, you can just go back. And if you can get a waiver, and they approve the waiver, you're good. But the waiver these days, especially with this new administration, is really almost a zero chance, because there has been a direction from the top down, Department of Homeland Security, the president, do not exercise discretion moving forward. Just apply the law strictly.
As the reality sets in about how hard it is to get back legally, the Bahamas route, which has been active for decades, could become more attractive.
It's something we're very concerned with. The Bahamas is very tourist orientated. It's relatively easy to travel there. I think there's 157 different countries that can travel to the Bahamas without a visa. So if you're looking for a way to get into the United States, the Bahamas may be that avenue.
The U.S. Coast Guard in Miami says they have interdicted thousands of illegal migrants over the years. Some have died. In just the past 3 years, the International Organization for Migration's Missing Migrants Project recorded the deaths and disappearances of 26 people on the sea route between the Bahamas and South Florida. This 911 call, as reported by NBC6 in Miami in October 2013, captures the hazards of this journey.
Miami-Dade County Police and Fire, where's the emergency?
Yeah, we 25 miles out from South Beach. We need to shut up. Deported thing.
4 women died that night. The smuggler that night, Naaman Davis from Bimini in the Bahamas, spoke to us by phone from a prison in Yazoo City, Mississippi, serving 14 years for migrant smuggling, resulting in death.
I'm not a smuggler, I'm a fish cleaner. I just did those people a favor. That's what I do. I do people favors.
Okay, but you were getting paid though, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How much you got paid?
800.
And how much did you end up getting?
400.
How come?
Get half down.
And at the time, you were in your correct state of mind?
On drugs.
What we see smugglers doing is they'll lie to their potential customers. They're very callous. They will not care one whit for the people that they are smuggling.
And surviving the smugglers may be the easier part. Staying in the U.S. without being caught may be harder, as Clinton found out when a routine traffic stop about a year after his return led to a charge for false impersonation and entered his name in local police records.
And they issue a warrant for me for re-entry in the United States. They went to all my kids' mom's house looking for me. My ex-wife house until final one morning early. We was sleeping and I heard the door banging a loud way. And I knew it was them. I was in detention system for almost 9 months. My sentence was 6 months for the re-entry. Because being that I don't have a serious crime.
Legislation that recently passed the U.S. House but stalled in the Senate could mean sentences for these kinds of crimes could now get a lot tougher if it becomes law. Average sentences for unlawful entry, which includes illegal re-entry, have fallen.
This law will enhance criminal penalties for those who repeatedly re-enter the country illegally.
Even under current law, immigration detentions under Trump have spiked, and those found to have illegally re-entered the United States could still face tough penalties.
Depending on why you were deported in the first place or removed, you can be sentenced up to 20 years in the federal prison.
But for some, despite knowing all the risks, going by boat is still a viable option. Glenn, not his real name, left Jamaica for the U.S. through the Bahamas in 2016. Though he says he paid $5,000 for his trip, was apprehended at sea and even landed in jail for illegal entry, he says it was still worth it.
Of course. I'm going to tell you we don't make it.
So you do it again?
Right now.
The Bahamas, though they know of the problem and are using extra boats to clamp down on the illegal activity, would not talk to us on camera. For Clinton, who's been there, done that, and understands the risks, he says he would never do it again.
It's very dangerous. Many people, hundreds of people, has died I would advise you all who have money that it costs. Use it wisely here in Jamaica and try to start your life all complete over. Because it doesn't worth it to try to go to the Bahamas and try to get in the United States. People are dying.
But is Clinton the minority? Or will more Caribbean involuntary returnees continue to risk losing their own lives for a chance at a life in the United States? Coming up on 18 Degrees North, the Trump administration will force tens of thousands of Haitians to leave the U.S. by 2019.
This is cruel and unusual punishment. They just send you there and say, live.
A glimpse into what some of them could face when we come back on 18 Degrees North.